Right. So back to the lesson. So that was some extra information that I want to tell you. So web design principle and theories, right? So don't try to memorize this thing because I mean like I know it's very hard to understand, but at least I mean like understand the concepts, right? The guest, I mean like the Gestalt principle, visual hierarchy, golden ratio, color DNA, visual direction, and visual direction, which can be a portion into a pattern layout and set layout, and unity, minimalism, and responsive design, right? So there are some theories that you need to consider when you are dealing with this content development. I mean, like if you master the content development, when you are designing these wireframes, and also after the completing the wireframe design, you come up with the design, right? So you have to be familiar with these theories and principles, right? So let's see what are those. The principle of grouping, remember like that. The overall structural shape of the web design determines its success and the visual appeal. Defined as the essence of shape of an entity's complete form, this principle is said to be one of the most important in the design process, setting the foundation for how a designer intends to communicate a website with the target audience. So this is actually based on how the people, I mean, how the particular users understand the content or the particular layout or the layout in the web page. Let's say, I mean, like even a particular web page, if you take a website, so there are a lot of elements, maybe buttons, some text, and things are there, right? So you have some concept inside that concept: proximity, continuation, similarity, common region, closure, connectedness. So So that means let's assume proximity. When you are having a web page, let's say it is a two, I mean like if it is a if I remember Facebook web page, right? So Facebook web page, I think on the right side of the page you have this particular users who are actually, I mean, like it will give you an idea about, I mean, like this list will indicate the users that are who are actually now currently online, right? So you can see one icon with some kind of name, last name, like this. User, I mean, like some user picture, again last name like this. So some kind of like a floating mechanism, right? So so that is about placement. That means like proximity. I mean, like very closer to one another. You will be stack these elements like in a very, I mean, like in a proximity according to the proximity content and the continuation. This is actually when you have some content in the web page. So you always, I mean, like take a text, whether in paragraph, whether you are like paragraph. Then again, after this paragraph, maybe like it will be highlighted the first one, and then here, like that. It's a continuation of the same thing. So that's how the your content is actually, I mean, like you are shaping the content. It's called the continuation and similarity. So similarity in the sense, like let's say, uh, you are grouping. I mean, let's say you do have some buttons, right? And this button, they do have some color. If you want to, I mean, like let's say, if you have some web form and you have a submit button and you have a cancel button and you have some more buttons, right? So when you are actually defining the colors of these buttons, if I mean like we are, I mean like normally, I don't remember, let's say, I mean like if it is a submit button, we are always giving some vibrant contrasting color like blue to this thing, and also if it is some kind of a dangerous kind of thing, let's say here the page have some kind of formula, go backwards or close the middle, we are highlighting that from that some kind of red color, right? So here, I mean, like if you have another thing same right here on the bottom of the page, you are highlighting that on the red color, and also like similar, I mean, like that means similar. That means like icons of the elements with the similar functionality. You are highlighting similar color or something. It's called the similarity. I'm actually giving some examples only and common region, right? So you have a website. You have one like when it's come to responsive design, we will be learning about this bootstrap kind of thing, layout mechanism. Here, this side, you have columns, and here this side you have rows, right? So in a particular one common region, here in this particular area, that means like here you have a this area and this area, like here you will be taken to highlight some picture, and here this area you will be highlighting some content, right? So common region, you are grouping items, and you have some closure connectedness. I mean, like I won't ask about these things later. So remember this core concept. I mean, like the for example that I have explained to you, right? So it's called the principle of grouping. Grouping the, I mean, like the whatever the content or the elements that is actually in the layout of the website according to how users going to interact with the website, right? That's the thing. That's the idea. You have a Facebook user list here with the last name or some kind of list. So that is easy for users to actually interact with the web page. Within the game, you're going to order using the message. That's the idea. Visual hierarchy. Designers use it to arrange certain elements of a web page. It is a method that can direct the human eye to what is more important. A great way web designers arrange a website information pyramid is to designate information according to size, color, and font. Visual hierarchy. So that's called the visual hierarchy. According to that, we will be arranging certain elements of the web page. It is a method that helps direct the human eye to what is important. A great way web designers arrange website information pyramid is to designate information according to size. So if you want to highlight something that is important, what you will do in the word. What is the thing that we are doing? If we want to emphasize something, that's the thing. Yeah, or either we could select something, we highlight in yellow color, right? So arrange it according to the size. Up to that, H1 heading and color. Likewise, in the previous example, I think it's a similar or something. So I tell you, grouping the icons or the buttons according to the color. If it is a some whether I mean like a really important thing that users must emphasize, we are actually highlighting that in a red color. Otherwise, some kind of normal function like something in the web form. I mean like maybe like orange. I mean like some blue color. Likewise that and the font. Based on the user information and how users foresee it, if it is a paragraph, the paragraph so we can use that, right? So that is, I mean, like we can do like that. And if we are emphasizing something, if we are, I mean, like highlighting that something that someone has said, we are highlighting that using long quotes, right? Keyboard data, we can highlight the so we can do that is in the web design also, right? So yeah, you can see over this side you have some kind of a element maybe like image icon on image to I mean like a footer image. You have some content, and again that you have some you can highlight some information. So that's called the visual hierarchy. I got into the I mean like how the visually see, I mean like how these users actually visually see your website, you will arrange certain elements of the web page. It is kind of like similar to the, I mean like grouping theory, but actually grouping theory, they have some more concept, you're gonna go deeper. Here it's more into the overview, I mean like the broader level. Golden ratio, right? Many mathematicians, architects, and artists believe the golden ratio, or you call it the golden rectangle. The golden rectangle. It's the shape of this kind of shape. It is actually derived from some mathematical formula, and the ratio is like I see the it's some kind of like rectangle shape that is designed according to this kind of shape. When applied, triggers a feeling of balance and harmony to humans. If we compose some items of the elements on the web page using this golden rectangle, they believe, I mean, like researchers or the people, the scientists, they have believed, I mean, like it will trigger some, I mean, like feelings of balance. They felt like that. Leonardo da Vinci, you would want to read that Mona Lisa thing, right? And Salvador Dali is a Spanish artist, if I remember, and even Mother Nature all have used the golden ratio in their designs. So, this design, I mean, like, have you seen it in nature? So, if I tell you one example, like how the rose flower, it actually blooms, right? The rose petals are arranged in some kind of, I mean, like this kind of shape, right? According to like kind of like a circular shape. And also like I don't know, like the one example I have seen, it's called tornado. It's actually tornado shape is like, you know, so that's the one example that actually I have read on the internet. A tornado, like it's a Mother Nature, all have used the golden ratio in their designs. And on the other hand, I mean, several times, I mean, like on the internet, there are, I mean, like some news about the most beautiful, I mean, like gents for the lady, right? Like I think people like Henry Carville and then some, I mean, like people from the BTS, they have, I mean, like recently ranked according to this golden ratio, right? So it's like human face, like this one, they believe golden ratio. According to that, they will rank whatever the celebrities and papers and time to time they will issue this ranking, right? So that thing is called the golden ratio. You can see that web page. So the necessary elements and the image from the center. There is the actual step or the place according to the golden ratio, and it's like more balance, right? Because with that thing. Many designers today continue to apply the golden ratio. It's a great way to balance the composition of a website within the other web elements. Composition, remember that it can be single on a samvite can website elements හරියටම ඒ place කරන්න කියලා that tells by this golden ratio. We can consider that when we are developing the website, right? So any questions up to this point? Any questions? Color theory, right? If you don't have any questions, the color theory. A well-designed site will have an effective color scheme. Color theory has designers differentiate website from the competition. It also helps the website liberate the effect color may have in users. Choosing the right color for the calls to action can make a difference between selling a couple of hundred products to hundred of thousands of products. That means when you are deciding the theme for a website, right? So you always have the, I mean, like think about the color. So it's called the color theory. So I told you, I mean, like grouping the similar elements with the same color. I mean, like elements do the same functionality, group have the same color, right? For one particular button, likewise that. So if it is a Colombo University website, what's the color? I mean, like the main color they have used. It's purple, right? So faculty of technology, it's blue or purple. All right, so that's the thing. I mean, like, honestly, I mean, like, my opinion that the Colombo University website, I mean, I don't sense it, I mean, like, It's that, I mean, like that. I feel like it's a kind of like a really dull, right? I mean, we as a goal to protect academic work there, and it's a user interaction and there, but if you see like some website like Australia, Common University, like Griffith University from Australia. So you can see the difference, right? Some animations are there, and University, I'm not, I mean, like I'm just telling that, but you have to actually see that. You actually feel it's kind of like a really dull feeling, right? But when it's come to the some universities in higher, I mean, like higher ranked universities, it's the other case because I mean, like when you have interacting and some the use of I think that if I remember, in Cover University, like they have used this black, orange, I mean, like yeah, kind of color mechanism, and yeah, that's the thing, right? So that means like if you have contrasting colors, means either I mean like it will be help you to drag, I mean like attack, I mean like attract more customers or the clients, or otherwise, I mean like if the color is too contrasting, they will be fed up with that. That's the thing. Choosing the right color for the call to action can make a difference between selling a couple of hundred products, the hundred of thousand products. So that is actually when it's come to the industry. Let's say if it is some kind of shopping cart, when you are highlighting, when you are selling some computers, it's always better to have a white background. I mean, like you have some items arranged. You have a one item over here. This is a one computer. This is another computer. You have pricing at the back. So it's always better to have a white background, right? So we can see the item. Let's say if it is some kind of red background, we don't use that, right? I mean, like it's like I don't know. So it's not the case, right? So you always have to familiarize with this color theory. That's the thing, right? So don't try to just remember the concept that I have told you. And maybe like I'll try to, because I'm recording this using Zoom, upload the recording to the LMS. Let's see. Any questions up to this point? Any questions? Visual direction. This helps the web designer to control the user's eyes movement. When you understand web design theory, you will understand web page heat maps, giving you an educated guess on where to highlight the most important information on your web page. Pictures, colors, and graphics, to just to name a few, all can be planned out to help draw attention and particular calls to action. How you arrange the elements in the web page is called the visual direction. It actually helps the designer to control your user's eye movement, right? When you understand web design theory, you will understand web page heat maps. Heat map web page heat maps. Some this is heat map can highlight it's like some like a really important thing, right? I mean, like a really, I mean, like a part of the web page that is really important. Giving you an educated guess on where to highlight the most important information. If it is boys, if you look at a girl, you know that I mean, like where to look at, right? That's a normal scenario. So where to highlight the most important information on your web page. So that is actually applicable to this visual direction. How your eye goes, I mean, like through that particular content of the web page. Pictures, colors, and graphics to just make you. So according to that, we can find pictures, even we can like use some vibrant colors and graphics. All can be planned out to help you draw attention to particular course to action. So accordingly, you will be highlighting that according to how our eye goes through the web page, or based on the previous research as well, you will be highlighting the icons and the graphic, and you will be placed according to that. And most probably one thing, it is evident that the most people actually, when they are reading the web page, they will be reading from left to right. When we are making a web page and we are highlighting some user information, this side you always have the some kind of image with the description over here. Image. After we can know the person from the description, right? So that's over here. So yeah, based on that, we have two types of layout: F pattern layout. The F pattern layout helps to apply the classic left to right reading style onto the web design. Scientific studies have shown that internet users naturally scan the web pages in F pattern. They will go from right to left. Many designers implement this design theory while planning out the visual structure of a website. You can see the images. They will initially like a visually see that the image. ඊට පස්සේ අර ටෙක්ස්ට් කියවන්න ආසෙ කරලා ඒ පර්සන් ගේ මුණ දැක්කම right like that. And set layout. The set layout might not work for all the websites. That's the thing. But it is a good point of reference when deciding on the layout plan. The idea is to design a site superimposed with the letter S, where your web audience is guided through set path from the leading pointer that of left of the web page to the bottom right. So it's like initially you will be going from here to here, and you will read from here and go to this side, go to the bottom. The idea is design site. The set layout is known to cover 4 big principles of the web design: branding, hierarchy, structure, and call to action. So you can see the Facebook login page. I honestly don't know that now this has changed on it, but it's on the previous like around 2010 to 2015. You can see the set layout is known to cover the 4 big principles of web design: branding. Comparing to Facebook branding again. Now we have Meta, right? They have changed the Meta. Like previously, they do have this F icon, right? So that is the brand name with the logo. And the hierarchy. The elements of the hierarchy. How we have organized the elements in the web page. You can see the image over here. What is Facebook, and then the global, like how we interact with some icon, some images there, and there's some web form we can enter or we can sign up for signing, right? Hierarchy and its structure, how it is organized, and the things that we can call to action, things that we can execute. On the top, you have this create new item, or create a new user or sign in, likewise that, right? So set layout is known to cover the 4 big principles of web design: branding, hierarchy, structure, and call to action. So it goes from like the word is it. Right. Any questions up to this point? Any questions? Right. Unity. A good grasp of web design fundamentals is to be creating a seamless website. Unity is what ties the good site into one nice package, helping the elements on the site connect smoothly from one element to another, ensuring the fluidity and better overall design. So this is the one example that I have taken from the internet. And so there's a one mobile operating system, actually like when we have this Microsoft Windows mobile systems, right? So we have, like this kind of icon grid system, right? Like we have the we have very big icons, like this kind of, like they have arranged elements of icons in the this kind of pattern, right? So it was the case of Microsoft, mobile operating system that was released back in 2012, and now we don't have the Microsoft mobiles. So like they have actually for development and the user interface of the operating system this concept called Unity. A good grasp of web design fundamentals is to create a seamless website. It is what ties the whole site into one nice package. They have stack of placed all the things in the one particular site. Right? That's the idea. Helping the elements on the site connect smoothly from one element to another, ensuring the fluidity and the better overall design. The main thing is here, as a Unity, in a one particular web page, you will highlight all the necessary information, like in an icon, maybe like graphical format, so it is easy for user to access. That's the concept called Unity. right? Any questions? Right. If you don't have, like no more questions, minimalism. So like minimizing the things. So list is often more, especially in the web design. That means that you are minimizing the whatever the items and things based on the web page. A clean, simple, and minimal design are all you need to effectively reach your audience. But before jumping in, you will need to develop a clear vision of the site purpose straight from the get-go, enabling you to understand pattern information in your design, being precise and consistent. Now we will design a stronger website later. That means as much as possible, you will be minimizing the content that is in your web page. But you cannot actually apply it to all the scenarios, right? So you can see one website, they have the home about whatever the navigation menus over there, and you have a one design, and from that, bottom left corner, you have one thing, right? So I think when they are releasing this Apple mobile device on the Apple web pages on some countries, because from country to country, they have different web pages. So they have the picture of the mobile device, and top that, on the top of that, you have navigation web menus, and that's all, right? That is a really simple design. They will white, probably they will be using a white background, and they are minimizing the things on the web page. And when you browse, like when you scroll down to the top, you can see more information. But whenever we actually log into the web page, we can see this part, and that's all. That means they have purposely minimized the content. So that content is called the minimalism, right? Any questions up to this point? Any questions? Right. Last bit, responsive design. With the wide variety of devices out there for you to consider, a designer must understand how to deliver a consistent design experience across various devices. A user should be never left wondering what to do next. A user's overall experience on mobile devices should be the same as desktop experience, meaning images should be adaptive and flexible. Content should be essential and more. Recommend to build a different wireframes of particular devices focusing on different breakthroughs. That means that, let's say if it is some kind of like a website, if we have actually several devices to log into that particular device, if it is our desktop computer, and if it is our maybe like we'll be using some tablet computer, iPad, or something like that, and we'll be having some kind of different vendors and different mobile device, right? So you all may have like Apple devices likewise that. So when you are seeing that web page, whatever all the elements, like the things, like you will be seeing, like a nice looking, like layout from your desktop, like desktop computer. But when it's come to the mobile device, you can see some images we cannot even see, right? So like when it's come to that, according to the like different mobile devices, different devices, you are making your website, like arranging the website element of the content according to the different devices is called the responsive design. That is the most important thing. So for that, we can actually use different libraries like Bootstrap and jQuery Mobile, and there are so much of other mobile devices. Sorry, other libraries and frameworks are available. So that will help you to make the web design, like more website more responsive. So if I give you one example. Right, I'm gonna cmb.ac.lk university website. There's a one way when you are developing a website. There's a one way actually that you can, like you cannot. My website is actually responsive or not if you are using this front-end libraries. So you have the web page here, go to the inspect element. Right. So you can see here like a kind of like a some kind of icon like desktop and mobile, right? If you click here, right, you can see here, you can change the device that you can see. May Colombo website එක iPad එක බැලුවොත් iPad Pro එක බැලුවොත් you can see with this resolution, this is how you see. And if you see that on, let's say you have so much of devices that you can text, maybe like Galaxy, you can see the website is actually not, sorry, this part, this is actually some kind of image slider. We cannot see all the images. It is not responsive, right? But the beneath, whatever the content beneath that, we can see they are placing according to the layout, but not the top part, right? So we can like change the device and we can see accordingly, right? That's the thing. So that is actually used by when you are developing the web page. Right. Any questions up to this point? Any questions up to this point? So with this, I will actually conclude all the necessary background relating to the web development, and after this is all about HTML programming, CSS, JavaScript, the PHP, and everything, the technical and practical part, right? So that's the thing. Any questions up to this before starting the next lesson? Any questions up to this point? Right. So I will actually, like sort of this, if we are doing like in case, like if we are doing the lectures in the same venue next week, I will make sure that this, whatever this issue is actually resolved, because most of the, you guys cannot see what is here. So if you don't have any questions, so the next lesson, it's about introduction to HTML, right? Hypertext markup language. And now we are moving to the practical side. Right. What is HTML? Right. So it's a standard markup language for creating the web pages. And it was introduced by that person called Sir Tim Berners-Lee somewhere in 1990 or 1991. And he came up with this hypertext context, and then he developed this hypertext transfer portable HTTP protocol and the hypertext markup language for creating the web pages. And this HTML actually stands for hypertext markup language. It basically describes the structure of a web page using the markup. So what does it mean by markup? What the markup here? Any idea? What does it mean by markup? So it's actually kind of markup that get a symbol or some kind of a tag that you can describe the content, right? That is the really simple explanation. The markup tags tell the web browser how to display the web page. Get the content from the web server, and the HTML tags tell you how to display the content. Content එක render කරලා කොහොමද browser එක display කරන්නේ, it will tell by this hypertext markup tags. HTML elements are the building blocks of the HTML pages, and HTML elements are represented by tags. And these tags label pieces of content such as heading, paragraph, table, likewise that. Browsers, they do not display the HTML tags, but use them to render the content of the page. So when it's come to this client side, I mean, like scripting. If we are like familiar with AngularJS or Vue.js, so probably, I mean, like, according to the data coming from the web server, again using the Java client side JavaScript, you can, I mean, like, render the content in a very nice looking way with some, I mean, like animations, I mean, like with lot of interactions. Like you will be, I mean, like if you learn about this AngularJS, Vue.js, you will be you have idea about that thing, right? An HTML file must have a .html, no HTML or HTML file extensions. That's the thing about basic thing about HTML background. Right. Any questions up to this point? Any questions? So HTML versions initially in 1991. I mean, like as I told you, the person called Tim Berners-Lee, he introduced this HTML, the basic version, and after that, that actually helped to develop this static web pages. We have several versions until now: HTML 2.0, HTML 3.2. HTML 3.2, like HTML 4.01, XHTML, and HTML5. HTML5, right? So today, actually, it was introduced in 2014. Now we have like HTML 5.1, 5.2, and more advanced versions. And yeah, that was the simple evolution. So, I mean, like, you don't need to remember that thing with the year. I don't ask any question. So, that's the basic evolution of how HTML came in place. So the main thing is from time to time when they are releasing this HTML, I mean, like markup language, I mean, with several versions, from version to version, they have added some, I mean, like new tags, or either they, I mean, like they will remove some depreciated tags, right? Like by the time of this HTML5, we have this doc type HTML, some HTML tag, and to display some paragraphs, as we have some different attributes to describe some elements. We have several tags, I mean, like introduced with the HTML5. That means that from version to version, there is a really big difference, right? So that's the main thing. Right. So the basic version of HTML page structure. So we have the in a very, I mean, like a very basic HTML page. Within the HTML text, we have the header file. Sorry, not the header file. We have the head tag, and after that we have the body. And within that body text, we have the whatever the content that we are placing inside here. Images, maybe like a graphic icons or textual content. All the things are here. So that is the basic version of HTML page. So probably when you are dealing with the practical, so I will ask the instructor. So she might be, I mean, like actually teaching you all the things with the Visual Studio Code integrated development IDE, and yeah, that's the thing. So even from, I mean, like from when I'm dealing with this also, I will actually, I mean, like showcasing some practical things. I mean, like I mean, like given the lecture time, but the instructor, she will give you more example with regard to what I'll be teaching to you, right? So building a web page. We can have, I mean, like we can get the help of different content management system, Joomla, WordPress, Wipra. Then we have web designing tools, the tools that are actually dedicated to the only to the web development like Dreamweaver, and we can even use a simple text editor like Notepad, Notepad++, and there are several IDEs like integrated development environments like Visual Studio and WebStorm. Likewise, that even we can use that NetBeans IDE for web development. That's the thing, right? There are a lot of things that we can familiarize with if we are into web development. So this is a simple HTML document. All right. So initially from the header, I mean, like from header, I mean, like you have one tag for So it's called the angle brackets. මේ දෙකට කියන්නේ So when we are defining this HTML tags, you always have to define the tags in this thing, right? We call it in programming, we call it less than or greater than, or otherwise this is called it. We call it angle brackets. So within this angle brackets, you have the exclamation mark and some declaration code. You can declare type HTML, right? So it's that particular tag doesn't have a closure of the end tag. They can declare, right? That's the thing. And we have within that HTML tag, we have the head to head, and then we can give some metadata related to the web page inside this head tag, and the body tag we can have any content, right? So I have put here the what does it mean by each tag? So doc.html declaration defines the document to be HTML file. I told you from version to version. From version to version, we have different. Several things have already happened, right? So in the HTML file, we have we have this declaration tag doc.html. It says the web server, web browser. This is the HTML file document, right? And HTML element is the root element of the HTML page. Normally, so this is doc.type and so HTML is the root. They can element, right? So inside that, all the content go. Whatever all the content in the website goes in this HTML tags. The head element contains the meta information about the document. That's the most important thing. Meta information. So inside the HTML content, it passes head data. It passes you have the closure here, and you have the body. So these are the main tag. Body. Meta information. So what does it mean by this meta information? Because yeah, that is the most important thing regarding the web page. What is the thing about meta information? What is meta information? Yeah, summary. You can say that. Yeah. Any other thing? What kind of things we highlight in the meta as meta information? Yes. Anyone? Yes. Anyone? So we highlight the information about the particular website inside this head tag. Information about we don't actually explicitly discuss what is the content here. We actually highlight the necessary information about the web page in the head tag, like the what is the language used and what are the other things. If we are using any external CSS files, we will be highlighting the link to here. And if we are using some JavaScript files, we will be highlighting here. If we are using some responsive web designs like Bootstrap, like necessary CSS and JavaScript, we will be highlighting inside that. Within the page, we will be highlighting in the head tag. Right? So it's the main the kind of the hard kind of thing in the particular web page. We highlight the meta information about the web page inside this head tag. Right? And the title. The element specifies the title for the document. Basically, title in the sense, you can see my final program on the top of that, whatever the what is it called? ඒකට කියන්නේ මොකක් හරි බාර් එකක් මොකක්ද විතර කියන්නේ tab එක උඩම දින my final progress, so that is for the title, right? A body elements contain all the visible page content, right? H1 element define a large heading. We have H2, H3, likewise that some several subheadings also. Paragraph element define a paragraph, right? Any other section. So I mean like that's the basic, I mean like a simple HTML document and the content. Any questions? Any questions? HTML tags. HTML tags are used to mark up HTML elements. Tags are surrounded by two characters that I told you, like angle brackets. The surrounding characters are called angle brackets. HTML tags are normally come in pairs like, again, P category, let's say, start in a paragraph, and always you need to have the closure with the end tag, right? That's the thing. Apart from declarative tags. The first tag is in the pair is the start tag. The second tag is the end tag. The text between the star and the end tag is the element content. So inside here you can write anything or some wording. So that is the content. And one thing. So I might be asking you about some MCQ question at the final exam. Remember, HTML tags are not case sensitive. So that means when you are declaring this thing, make a simple T when not Kuluwa, capital T when not Kuluwa, right? They are not case sensitive. Simple capital B there, naha. But always lowercase tags are recommended by the WPC, that means like World Wide Web Consortium. Right? So this World Wide Web Consortium is the main organization that who governs the internet and the related worldwide web things, right? From time to time, they are the one who is actually defining policies about this is the way that how we need to use next HTML markup language and the part of the internet, and yeah, they are the main one who is responsible for that. Right, you can see tag name and you can have the content here, if it's allowed to put the content and the closure tag. Right. The web browser. The purpose of the web browser, like we have a lot of examples like Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari, Opera. I mean, like a web browser is to read the HTML documents and display them. That means like render them into our screen, right? The browser does not display the HTML tags, but uses them to determine how to display the document. Right? We can direct with the HTML content. That's the thing. They will just display the content only, right? You can see the example. So starting with the document declaration, this declaration represents the document type, whether it is a HTML file or not, and help to display the page correctly. It must only appear once at the top of the page before any HTML tags. Document declaration is not case sensitive. They got case sensitive now, and you can see the declaration, right? That's a simple explanation about document. So the basic HTML tags, right? For the headings, we have this H1, H2, H3, like for that up to H6, and paragraph, we have like several examples, and the line breaks. So when we are writing content, this is the one paragraph, and this is the second paragraph, and if we want to highlight some line break, again, we use BR in HTML5 version. Earlier we have used BR with this slash right in earlier versions, but this is the most recommended version in the latest HTML5 version. and paragraph, and even thematic breaker. That means if we want to highlight some kind of a horizontal line, we call it HR tag, right? So you will be learning all these things. I mean, like practical when we are doing the practical. So this is a more, I mean, like I'm giving theoretical overall, and I'm just showcasing some practical side only. So thematic breaker. So remember, in HTML file version, this HR and BR tag, they doesn't have a closure tag. That's the thing. BR, that's all. Now we are going more deeper into this HTML tags. All HTML elements can have the attributes, right? Can have the attributes. I told you document object model, right? So document object model, it can like it actually provides the interface and it considers a particular web page as an object, and it allows you to manipulate the whatever the content, manipulate the attributes of these elements, right? So all HTML elements can have the attributes. Like in Java, double objects can have attributed behavior, the same thing. Attributes provide additional information about an element. Attributes are always specified in the start tag. You can remember in the start tag. Attributes usually come in name value pairs like name followed by the value. Attribute name like that. Can say background color, then you can define the color. Right? I will showcase you example later. Attributes name and its values are also case sensitive. In case it won't not work. So WPC recommends always lowercase attributes. So remember that thing. Attributes value should always be enclosed in quotes. Right? I'm going to showcase with the example. Always double instance quotes are the most common, but single instance quotes are also allowed. In rare, when the attribute name itself contains quotes, it's necessary to use single quotes. So when you are doing the JavaScript, if you want to highlight or manipulate something particular DOM element, let's say you are giving the ID to some kind of label or a text area. Yeah, label, HTML label or something like that, some text. You are given some kind of name or an element. So when you are defining that, I told you, a attribute name here, when you are defining that, if you have John, some shortcut inside that name in the quotation, you will be having the single quotation. So you can either use single quotation or a double quotation. That's the thing. So yeah. Right. I will showcase you the example later. Right. Comments in HTML. So every programming language like C, Java, we do not have a way to comment the whatever speak. So when the next developers come to, or when the development team change, so they can easily understand what they have actually. What is the purpose of this content, or like what that they can easily understand the logic, right? So this is the way that we actually use the comments. Within the annual records, you have this exclamation mark and two hyphens, and here you have two hyphens. This is my first page or something. You highlight anything, right? That is the basic way that you highlight. Like the comment. Like you put the comments in the HTML document, right? So yeah, that is it about the comments in HTML, because you may need to familiarize with when you are developing the thing. Exercise 1. So go to the university website. Go to its source code. Find the different text that appears within the source code, right? So I told you when we have a some website, so the web browser we can only see that whatever the necessary content, right? Rendered through the web server. We cannot see the HTML element, nothing. We cannot see like that, right? So So if we are to actually see this, we have to go inspect. And from the element tab, you can see all the script that we have used, JavaScript version, head tag, body tag, all the HTML content in the page, right? So as I have told you, they have already given some, I mean, like div tags, and they have given names and ID to identify each of the elements. So that is for more making the website more interactive. So this is the basic, I mean, like this is the normal way that actually how you are, I mean, like getting the source code of the particular web page, right? So any questions up to this point? Any questions? So what is HTML file? What is HTML file like here? So you have learned about HTML and the basics. So what does it mean by HTML? Anyone? What does it mean by HTML file? Right. Anyone? What does it mean by HTML file? How much? Yeah. Yeah, it's a document that can contain the whatever. Just the normal HTML elements, right? एक तरह HTML I mean like HTML file like क्या And what is the purpose of this markup tags? මොකද්ද markup tags වලට purpose එක? Okay, that's like that. Have you ever heard about XML? ये वगैरह language के हाल दिवाला. XML language, extensible markup language. So this is the HTML hypertext markup language. I mean, like there are several other markup languages as well. The most common one is XML. So HTML, what do? We actually put the, I mean, like the HTML help us to render the whatever the browser, I mean, like the content in the web browser, right? In the XML files, what happens is extensible markup language will help you to store the data. That's the thing. We have XML tags in your data. If you are like working in a really large, I mean, like when you go to the industry and when you become a software engineer, sometimes because I was a .NET software engineer. So we are working with this C# and .NET API. And we have a server as Microsoft SQL server. So in order to fetch the data from the server, we have, I mean, like we have the client side logic written from the C# and the ASP.NET, and we have several, I mean, like XML files. XML files we have highlighted the whatever the queries or the SQL stored procedures. When we call to XML tag with the name, so that will ignore the necessary data from the database server and give us that the result, right? So XML is actually used to store the content or the data. Remember that thing. So that is another markup language. And what is the purpose of the markup languages? I mean, I'm not saying that the basic purpose of markup language. Anyone? What is the purpose of the markup language? The markup text. The markup text basically allows you to it will give allows you to have the space to make the things in the correct order, like store the data, like when they get content from the web server, right? That is the basic purpose. According to the tag, according to the way you have defined it, it will allow to execute some functionality. That's the thing. Now I have already told you two tags. What is an, I have already given you example for two tags. So the next section is, what is an empty tag? Give some example. මොකක්ද empty tag එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ? I have actually given you 3 examples, right? මොකක්ද empty HTML tag එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ? I have already told you 3 examples. Yeah, someone. Yes, exactly. Great example. HR. And also the third one I have given you is doctype. That the document declaration that doesn't have a end tag for the stopping tag, right? So that is called an empty tag. So I have now asked you questions. So do you guys have any questions up to this point? ඔගලට ප්‍රශ්න දිනවද? Anything? Right. So the next one is HTML styles and formatting. So apart from using the CSS, cascading this style sheets, and there are ways that we can use the HTML style things, right? HTML styles and the formatting. Setting the style of an HTML element can be done with the style attribute. HTML style is an attribute that can be used with the any tag. Syntax for adding the style attribute. You have the tag name, and always remember you need to start that with the starting tag, right? And the name and the value, can property value maker, and it starts with style. So if you want to style some elements like the paragraph, maybe like that heading elements, so you always can use, apart from using the CSS for customized version of styling, this HTML styling, the basic version, right? Style followed by the within the quotation mark. It can be either, as I have told you, single or double quotation, right? Remember, this is highly case sensitive. Followed by the name, colon, then the value, right? That format. So yeah, these are the examples to change the background color, right? I'm just giving you some really basic examples. You have already done things, right? The background color property defines the background color for an HTML element. You have the title and inside the body. I'm saying style background color. You can see the how I'm going to say that, and the colon powder blue. And here in the H1 tag, I have said background color in the hexadecimal format. Either you can say RGB format. So yeah, you don't even need to remember that thing. There are ways that we can define the color, right? We can either name it. Either we can use the hexadecimal code followed by that hash, hash and the hexadecimal code and the RGB color function. You can call it an RGB color function. Yeah, the first one is the name and the hexadecimal format and the RGB color function. You can use all these 3 things, right? Most probably, the most common one is the using this hexadecimal code. You can see according to the initially we have the body style powder blue. You can see it is like a blue color, right? Then the H1 it is red background color, and the P paragraph is like purple kind of color, right? That's the thing. And if you want to change the text color, what happens is the color property defines the text color. So that one was background color. Here the color property, it defines the text color for an HTML element. So yeah, here you can see the H1 2 paragraph text. You can see I'm saying style, color, blue. I'm only changing the, remember the text color. The first example is the name. The second example is the RGB color function. The third example is the hexadecimal code that I have defined. So accordingly, here it becomes blue, red, and some green, right? So that's how text color. And the font. How we can change the fonts, because in Word documents we'll be using different font styles, right? Maybe like Times New Roman, like area, lot of things. So font family property define the font to be used to an HTML element. So inside that header tag, I'm saying style font family. I'm saying Vardhana. You can see that font is changed, and the paragraph it becomes clear. You can say Times New Roman. There are a lot of options are available. If you change that, you can define the, change the property, and accordingly you can change this, how it is appearing on the web page, website, right? Any questions up to here? Any questions? Right. HTML text size. The font size property, can it style? Mama make it have this I always change the attribute style, right? A attribute change make attribute change. This one is called the property name, and this is the value. Name, value. Make a change background color, text color, font family, font style, and even the text size, and there are a lot of things that you can do, right? So font size define the text size for HTML element. So H1, so inside the header tag, and then I have two paragraph tag font size. So I have defined the percentage, right? Then the next one, it is from pixel. Pixel from this particular screen, the one particular dot for 11 that you can see for a pixel. And font size 2EN.